like a modern car. One other episode of Jay Leno's Garage. The car today, 1970 Barracuda, or Cuda as they were called, with the 440 with a six-pack. This is my favorite genre of cars because it's original and unrestored. Not only is it original and unrestored, it has still got the original owner. And the original owner is somewhat of an icon himself. He's one half of the famous singing group, the Carpenters, Richard Carpenter. Richard, come on in here.
Hey,
good to
Jay.
see you, my friend. Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. We all know you as a musician, obviously, but a lot of people might not know. You've been a huge car guy for a long time, right?
Yeah, I was born that way. You know, you're born with it in your blood, and I got that from my father.
Yeah. Was he a Chrysler guy?
He was a Chrysler man.
Okay, yeah.
And growing up in the 50s, you know, it was a terrific time for music and for automobiles.
Right, right.
And especially 55 and then into 57 and all.
Right.
It was a great time to be growing up in America. So there were cars that I lusted after after the years that I've tried to find for my collection. But when this car came out in 1970, I really thought, as I do today, it's one of the most beautiful cars ever made.
It really is, especially when you figure the first Barracuda was really just a Valiant with a big glass window on the back.
That's right.
And it didn't really look like anything particularly special. And this was, they got a little late in the pony car game. You know, they had the Camaro and the Mustang. It went out for, what, 5 years already. But when they came out, they finally did it right. So why the 440 and not the Hemi? Did you look at the Hemi?
Oh, sure. And of course, I really wanted one. But my dad, this is before we had our first hit. We were signed with A&M Records, but we hadn't had our first hit.
Right.
And so I special ordered this.
Right.
My father signed for me. And so it has 2 data plates. I studied the manual, the brochure, and ordered everything but that I wanted. Saved the Hemi because it was just about a quarter of the price of the car.
Yeah, that's what it was.
You know, it was an expensive engine, plus you had to get certain things that came with it.
Right.
So that...
And imagine your dad, maybe you think the Hemi was, no, you're a kid, this is a little too powerful. Did you get any of that?
Not really.
No, not really. Okay.
Because really, from 0 to 60 and all, this is a quicker car.
Right.
The Hemi came into its own as things settled down and you started to approach 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, that starts to breathe.
So,
yeah.
And you got the 5-year, 50,000-mile warranty on this, where you didn't on the Hemi.
Right. 90 days you got on the Hemi.
They figured what was going to be done with most of them.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
So this is a Plymouth, and of course, if Dad were here, he wouldn't believe it. Oldsmobile, Pontiac, but no Plymouth anymore.
Right. And it's got the shaker hood, right?
Yeah, I ordered the shaker hood.
And the 3 two-barrels. That's pretty rare, isn't it?
It is.
I haven't seen many of those. In fact, I have to admit, I wasn't even sure they did a Cuda with the 3 two-barrels until I saw yours.
Yeah, you could get, well, if you got the Cuda, it started with a 383, and then you get a 444 barrel, the 6-barrel, and of course the Hemi.
Right. And what was the horsepower? 375?
It's 390 in the old rating.
Wow.
With 490 pound-feet torque.
Wow. And you got the automatic, the torque flight?
Yeah,
right?
It's called a slapstick.
Right.
STIK, because you can pull it down and then shift it quickly by yourself. It's beefed up from the factory, so if you just get a little bit of revs going and then switch it in a second, it chirps the tires.
Right, yeah.
It's really
Did you consider getting a 4-speed or no?
No. I thought it just made it too jerky, and no, this if you don't want to, you can put it into drive. It's in 3rd gear by 25 miles an hour, and you can just putt around.
And plus, most people don't realize this was the first automatic transmission that was faster than a standard shift car.
That's right.
You know, most automatics with that Buick.
Oh, the Dynaflow.
The Dynaflow,
well,
or that whole, it was just sluggish. This is the first transmission that boom.
It did.
Yeah. And so in a lot of cases, the automatics ran fast.
Yes.
Yeah. Power steering or no?
Power steering, brakes, the front disc brakes.
Right.
the Grand Coupe option, which was the luxury version.
Yeah.
So it's a Cuda performance with a Grand Coupe interior.
Right.
So you got the felt headliner, the overhead console, the leather bucket seats, in the front, only in the front, vinyl in the back.
Right.
And all sorts of different things, the AM, FM stereo, the rally pack dash,
So what's
the
a rare
elastomeric
Yeah, rare
bumper,
car.
so it could be the color of the car.
How many miles on the car?
42,300
Wow.
and
So
something.
they've done less than 1,000 miles a year.
Yeah, and most of them were put on by my dad.
Right.
Because about 6 weeks after we took delivery of it, Close to You, our first
Right.
hit, second single, first hit came out.
Yeah.
And we were overnight famous.
Yeah, I remember.
And so
it's
we
huge.
were here, there, and everywhere. And so Dad, he drove most of the miles on it. He loved this car.
You went so far as to get the original polyglass tires.
It came with them. You couldn't get them for years.
Right. And then they repoed them again.
Yes, finally.
And not the greatest tire.
No, they're not. And the car rides like a buckboard.
Yeah, I like the way you say that. No, they're not. No, they're terrible tires. But you're a stickler for, you like original. You like the,
Just about 100% of the time.
Yeah.
We do go on the other cars with radials,
Radials, yeah.
that are the correct size, correct
Right.
white wall. But this, you know, it doesn't get driven that much. And so we keep it.
And these light up
original.
much better, don't they? You can light these
It's very easy to light because all the weight's up in front.
Yeah, because most people, they kind of beat the heck out of it for the first 7 or 8 years.
Well, especially cars like this.
Oh, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
Did you get a lot of people challenging on the street back in the day?
Well, see, when I was going to school, a music major at college, I didn't have this then, but I had a 383 car and stoplight Grand Prix and all.
Right.
But by the time I was saying that this came along, we were on the road.
Yeah.
Which is really a good thing because I probably would have been pulled over time and time again.
Can we open the hood and see the
Oh,
motor?
sure. This opens.
Yeah, get on that side. It'll be
Oh,
on
yeah.
this
So
side.
it has the faux hitch pins, and let's see. Now a lot of it, shaker,
Yeah, look at that.
is covered with the shroud.
And boy,
So there
it
isn't
looks
a whole lot to see.
it looks as clean as it did the day it left the factory. It's amazing.
In 1980, we pulled it out to detail the engine
Right.
compartment and the engine, but the engine's never been gone into.
Wow.
But yeah, and then we just keep after the cars.
Boy, it just looks beautiful.
I know there's not a whole lot to see there.
This has got to be the
But,
rarest of the rare. No air conditioning, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't order it on the six-pack or the Hemi.
Oh, okay. Right.
But of course, that had a bit of a price tag as well.
Yeah.
So,
Now you just must have Cuda guys driving you crazy trying to buy this car. Do you just get that all the time? They think, oh, he's had it for he must want to get rid of it. Does that happen all the time?
Not all the time,
Yeah.
because you know a whole lot of people anymore, they don't know what these cars are.
Yeah.
There's some talk that they're going to reintroduce it with Dodge. Somehow a Dodge Barracuda doesn't sound exactly
Right.
but or Cuda.
Well, I've got the Challenger with the Hemi, which
Yes,
is
you do.
Which is, you know, it's kind of like having a rolled up sock in your pants. It's not that impressive. It looks good, but it's not that impressive.
Never thought about it.
Yeah. I mean, people go, oh, what's that? And then you get in the, the light changes and you're still sitting there and the Volkswagen GTI is blowing your doors off.
Don't you know it?
Yeah.
I mean, what used to be 0 to 60 in under 5 was
Yeah.
a big deal.
Well, I remember,
And,
it was 6.3, and that was anything under 10 seconds was fast. And 6.3 was, oh my God! Now you're in the high 2s and the low 3s, so it's a whole different world.
And then the whole horsepower thing with the regulations in the 70s, down, down. So I had the last year you could get a 454, a 74 Corvette. That was so choked up with emissions, it barely got out of its way.
Right.
And to think now that you can get 600, 800, and
I know.
of course the new Bugatti is...
Right. But 390, this is
Over
no slouch.
1,000.
It must still go pretty good.
It does,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
and it makes a lovely sound.
Yeah. And so you've got stock muffler and everything on it, right?
Yeah.
But to see it exactly as it left the factory, and I like resto mods. I got a few myself, but dead nut stock is pretty cool, because what did this car cost in 1970?
Well, Before tax and license and recapable tires, it was $4,400,
Oh,
which
so-
was a lot for a Plymouth.
Yeah, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Sure, sure. Because 5,000 was now you're in Cadillac territory.
Then you're starting to get it. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, now 5,000, that's for the wheels
Oh
and
my
tires.
God.
Yeah, you don't get anything. But very nice. Let's
Well,
see.
thank you.
And just the way everything, the hood pins line up. There we go.
Boing.
Great lines on this
So,
car.
we got pulled over
Yeah.
for a smog inspection
Yeah.
in 1972. So that's
And you still got it on
still
there.
have it on here. You know,
funny.
this is the original windshield.
You know, most cars of this vintage, they have the aftermarket vinyl seat kit, and it doesn't quite fit. You know, the stitching is up, but this one it's all original. It's amazing. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, especially considering that some of it isn't put together all that well. We always got a laugh out of the way the doors sounded. Not a good sound.
Yeah, that's
But,
yeah. And I love the red stripe.
Yeah, the reverse hockey stick.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I think they did an absolutely beautiful job with this car. It says a lot when the new Challenger, you know, of the past 8 or so years, is pretty much a rip of the original.
Yeah, yeah. And
It's not as
pretty.
wide, so it
Right.
doesn't have the beauty of the original,
Right.
but the profile is pretty much the same.
Well, it's a great car. Can we take it for a spin?
Certainly.
Let's do it. I remember these seat belts up here. They would stay there for the life of the car.
They'd stay there for the life of the car.
Yeah.
And if you ever took them down, you never got them back the same as the
Right,
time
right.
you had them.
Yeah. I mean, this car's just got road trip written all over it. You know, I always think of that road. Where is it? Utah somewhere. It looks like it just goes forever. And there's not another road on it. I've got a Monteverdi. You ever heard of one of those? It uses a 440 Chrysler.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Challenger that went to college in Europe. You know.
Yeah, of course, they're very basic suspensions, archaic,
Yeah.
and it rides like a buckboard. And of course, it would handle better if it had the 340, which is a hell of an engine. But you know, I was 23.
Yeah, but this was the era when European cars would brag about 130 horsepower, and this had 390 horsepower.
Yeah, and it's the view from the passenger seat,
Oh, yeah.
the driver's seat. That beautiful. You don't see hoods anymore.
No, looking down that shaker hood.
There we go.
There you go. It's got some power, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I say it's definitely with the automatic. It's a Jekyll and Hyde car.
Yeah. You get the wood simulated wheel. I always like the thin wheel.
That was the standard. They had the optional with the Barracuda, the profile of a Barracuda.
And then they had
and the rim blow.
Yeah, rim blow is.
But
Rim blow just sounds bad.
so it has the hood-mounted turn signals. But
right.
Everything was an option.
My '67 Chrysler Imperial has those on it.
Yeah, I like those a lot. I like 67 and 8 Imperials.
150 mile an hour speedometer. What does that say?
Oh, carb air, ram air.
Oh yeah. Oh, you
Yeah.
pull that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. I always like that induction noise on these things. Yeah. I always remember these polyglass tires. If the exits had 35 and you were going 36, you just make all that screeching and chirping noise. It's like, all right, I get it.
Of course, it has Chrysler's full-time power steering, which
Yeah.
I never liked.
Yeah, it's a little light, isn't it?
Just a bit.
Yeah.
No feel of the road, but it tracks. Well, it's had a charmed life. There we go.
I love that shaker hood. And
Oh,
true to
yeah,
form, it shakes.
Like the pipes coming out of the cord.
Yeah. You remember the ads for the sheriff back in the 60s and 70s for these cars? In the commercial, he pulls a kid over and goes, that damn racing car. No, sir, it's not a racing car. What do you call them stripes? Racing stripes. What do you call them, their tires? racing style tire. That's a racing cowboy. And he gives, he gives him the tip. You remember those? Yeah.
Yes.
That guy used to make appearances at every Chrysler dealer around the country.
Concerned groups were saying there's too much emphasis on performance in
Right.
automotive commercials.
Right.
So for a while they weren't allowed to show really anything. And now you watch the ads for the Dodge.
Yeah.
Like the supposedly John and Horace Dodge.
Yeah, the Dodge.
And in comes to the garden party these challengers, and they're doing donuts and everything.
Yeah.
Well, things have changed. Back to
Have
the
you
way it
driven
used
the
to
new
be.
Hellcat?
No, was it 707
Oh.
horsepower?
No,
717?
it's unbelievable.
It has to be.
And it's a great car. I think you would like it.
Oh, I'd like it, all right.
What's the newest Mopar you have? When did the
In
party
terms of
end?
model years?
Yeah, like when did the interest end for you? Early 70s?
Early 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to answer your question, a 71 Roadrunner Hemi.
Oh, you got a 71 Roadrunner?
Yeah, I
Oh.
always liked the 71s. And of course, that was the last year. For
Yeah, it's
the Hemi.
4-speed or automatic car?
It's an automatic.
Yeah,
And it's the vitamin C orange
Oh, yeah.
with the orange and black interior.
And doesn't go around corners at all, does it?
Not really.
No. Yeah.
It has the strobe decals over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this
it's
the
a
car you've had
good-looking
the
car.
longest of any car?
This one?
Yeah.
No, getting back to the, influencing your dad when you're at an auto dealer.
Yeah.
Well, we were going to look for a new car, the Satellite, Plymouth Satellite,
Right.
had come out for 65. And he said, well, sure, it's a pretty car and all that. And we went to look. They didn't have the color we were looking for. We walked into the showroom to see about a dealer search. And here on the showroom floor was a black on black Satellite convertible with just about every option you could name.
Right.
And I was,
What motor?
just 383,
Okay.
4-barrel. So I'm like, Dad, last thing we need is a convertible.
Yeah.
Same thing, but he finally,
Oh, he bought it.
he bought it and we still have it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
February of 65. It's a damn nice car.
So anybody else in your family interested in cars? Or is
No.
it just you? Yeah,
It's really a shame.
yeah, it's so funny. I would have
It's a
given
shame.
anything if my dad was interested in cars when I was a kid, but it's just, we'd have these, what do you want to get a stick? The automatic is shifted for you. What do you want to bother with that?
Yeah, I wanted a
We-
4-speed, of
we-
course. Well, you have to understand.
Yeah.
They had to deal with sticks and manuals,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not, of course, they weren't sporty cars. They were big family cars. I said, why would you want a manual transmission?
Yeah.
I understand it, but no, he truly loved automobiles.
Why did your dad like Chryslers?
Well, when they were new for a while, they were a very good car. Like the Plymouth, when that was introduced,
Right.
was a very good car, and a lot for the money. And his future father-in-law bought a new Plymouth, a 29 Plymouth,
Right.
and that was that. He liked it, and he bought Chrysler products used. We couldn't afford them.
What
new.
year was your dad born?
1908.
Wow, okay, my dad was born 1910.
Oh, so just about the same.
Yeah.
Ah!
Feels
Thank
like a modern
God.
car. How's it feel being in the passenger seat?
Very good, actually. Yeah, but I don't know. I must have sometime through the years. It's responsive. It idles very well for what it is. It doesn't shake you around so much.
No.
At the stops.
And the shaker hood is such a great gimmick.
I love that.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, it appeals to the kid in me. So in modern ratings, the SAE, I'm trying to think what 390 would be. Maybe it would crack 300. Because starting in 72, they had to change the horsepower
Right.
from at the bench to hitting the wheels.
Yeah, it's probably pretty close. Probably an honest 340 horse, 350.
Yeah, you have to figure
Yeah.
a lot of these were underrated anyway.
Yeah.
That's good. This is good for the car. It needs this. Ah.
People must go crazy when you park this car somewhere, you drive it somewhere, do they?
Yes,
You know,
they do.
It's so
They
exotic compared to other things that you see now.
Yeah, and of course coming here, people, guys beeping their horns and waving.
Yeah.
But yeah, I pulled into it because usually I don't take it any place where I have to park it.
Right, right.
But one time I did, and this fellow followed me all the way, and he said, "Beautiful job," thinking that it was just restored.
Right, right. The power steering makes it much nicer to drive.
Oh my God, the manual is something like 5.5 turns lock to lock.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Are there any modern cars you like?
Yeah, I like the newer Porsches now that they've worked the wiggle out of the steering once you get to speed. And I really like the i8. And I have, not that it's that new anymore, but a 2005 Honda S2000.
That's a great car, isn't it?
And I put a Paxton Novi supercharger on it that's smog legal and a MagnaFlow exhaust. But they are just a lovely driving
Wonderful car, yeah, yeah. And it really is a spiritual successor to my 600. They're high revving, they're light.
They're rev happy. Good afternoon.
Boy, this thing is amazing. It's tight and it's strong. It's like a brand new car. It's really just unbelievable that something like this, it's 47 years old, yet it still has the feel and the tightness of a brand new car, and it's completely stock.
I say, it's led a charmed existence.
Yeah, it really is beautiful. Come on, let's take it back to the shop and we'll do a little roundup. It's just fun to drive this thing. But what a thrill this is to drive an original, unrestored, 42,000-mile car. I mean, this feels like it just came off the showroom floor. I mean, it's a credit to you that you just take such care of it and you really appreciate these things. You know, I mean, now we all appreciate them in hindsight, but to have that appreciation all these years, it shows you're a real car guy. Richard, thank you so much, my friend, and congratulations on all your success. It's well deserved, and boy, this thing is pretty cool. See you guys next week.
Mm-hmm.